Hello and welcome to Cosmoteer. This is Pony here with Grogan Games, bringing you this pretty awesome indie title from an independent developer named Walt Destler. He put this game out right now. It is completely free to download, and I will put the link in the description. It says pre-alpha early access for the free, so we'll see what he does post pre-alpha. I'll be very interested to see where this goes. I think it's just one guy working on it. This is a starship design simulation and battle game. So kind of think of a really simplified 2D Space Engineers meets Factorio, because you could build the most awesome gunship on the entire planet, but if you don't build it efficiently, your little people, like you see on the menu, stomping around won't be able to take resources from one location to the next quickly and efficiently and just get ate up. So the effectiveness of your ship to be able to keep the shields up, keep the guns firing, is all dependent on your design. It is pretty good stuff. I've played a little bit and have kind of an idea what I'm doing. I'm not going to bore you guys with too much of the details, so we'll go ahead and jump in. Bounty Hunter is kind of how you start out, so you destroy enemy ships. They give you money, and you use the money to upgrade your ship. This is the ship we start with. You might be able to change this, upgrade it, I don't really know. You start with 25,000, and we're going to just show you the building mechanics real quick, jumping straight into it. So over here on the bottom left, you have the hammer for your build. You can change the paint scheme. This one is your crew management, so you can either hire or fire crew. I don't know where you'd want to fire crew. Flip this button thingamadoo-bobber over here. It puts the top back on your ship. Turn it back on, takes the top off. Pretty good stuff. Run around the top down. So this is building in the blueprint mode. So while you're in blueprint mode, everything you move and change just kind of sits off to the side, and no changes are committed till down there in the bottom right you click the make it so. And basically this works just like anything else you'd use for creation. So Alt-Z works to undo, you can redo. There is a drag tool, so you could actually grab the back end of your ship, cut it, and drag it off to the side and work on the back of your ship and mess around with it later. If you don't like what you just did, Alt-Z and boom, you're undone. Mirroring is down here in the bottom right hotkey of M. I prefer to build in the blueprint mode because it makes life a lot easier than doing it real time on the fly. And I didn't know about the blueprint mode when I first started messing with this, so I kind of screwed the pooch on that just a tiny little bit. I'm going to go ahead and spend our 25,000, run through these tabs. I'm going to spend a little bit as I run through them. The first tab you see is your weapons. It gives you a little bit of information, some flavor text on the weapons. Now, the standard cannon, large cannon, missile launcher require ammunition to be produced, whereas the ion beam, electrobolt, and small laser all utilize energy from the ship. As you see, we're not really at what the recommended crew is, and recommended crew is, okay, how many people need to be in each station, plus running around this, that, or the other. Next tab is munitions. You've got ammo factory, ammo storage, missile factory, missile storage, pretty simple stuff. Defensively, you have a shield generator, point defense, fire extinguisher, which is really important because if your ship catches fire and your people can't get there to extinguish fire, your ship is going to blow up. Bad juju, don't do that. Flight systems, you got your control room, so if that gets out of energy or blown up, your people can't control the ship. 3 grades of thrusters, the FTL drive, which is important because each encounter area only has, 4, sometimes at the higher levels, only 2 guys. So you got to jump between different encounter locations. Crew, you got a 1x2 or 2x1, whatever you want to call it. Gives you 2 crew. You've got the larger, I think this is a 2x2, if I'm thinking correctly. And that gives you 6 crew, and then you've got the moving walkways. But it allows fast travel in one direction, not the other. So depending on how you use it, could kind of screw you. Power, you've got a reactor that makes power. You've got storage that stores power. Pretty simple stuff, right? Miscellaneous, you got sensors. And then structures. Structures don't add armor, don't add a whole lot of weight. So you want to use those. I'm going to go ahead and pop us a storage up here, so that way our guys can pull energy from the storage and take them to the cannons. I'm actually also going to take a small laser and slap one of those up front. Now the other thing I am going to do is grab my hand here. There's no reason for the door to be between the two, so we want to make sure they've got access between all the different compartments. If the energy is going to go anywhere, it's going to go from the storage into the guns or the thrusters. Now, we are lacking on crew just slightly, so we've got 8, recommends 11. We can get within 1 of that strictly by grabbing a little bunk and dropping a little bunk either, I'm going to drop them in the wings here because we've got the money to do it. So now we actually have an abundance of crew, which is good, and it's looking great. So let's go ahead and commit these changes by clicking Make It So, make sure the game's going to hire us those 4 crew, and do it. So now you see our little guys are going to walk, and we can kind of gauge the efficiency of our paths and how we've got our ship laid out by this initial restock. I don't really want to jump into combat too quickly. I want to make sure we're fully ready to go, but in the interest of just keeping it lively. So as you notice, when I right-click on this unknown contact, and they're out of our sensor range so we don't know who they are, our ship has this little icon. You can hold the shift key. Pause this real quick. In the center, there is a 4-direction arrow. If you grab that, you can change your engagement distance to keep it in your weapon's firing arcs. And different weapons have different firing arcs. Also, you've got the little side tabs that'll change your facing, or just, change your facing. Now, once we get within range and we have an idea what the ship looks like, and I'm going to pause it again, up on the top right here, you've got the Model 1 picture-in-picture. Once we start engaging this Y-Scout, he'll actually come into that image right there. So we're going to take, and he's got his weapons to the front, so we can grab that center, and we can spin around to his side and say, hey, engage him from the side, keep our guns oriented forward in the firing arc, engage him from the side. Pretty good stuff. Go ahead, unpause it. There is time controls in the top left. You can go all the way down to 1/4 speed, which is pretty dramatic. Now, as you notice, the ship, the crew of the ship, is handling absolutely all of the maneuvering to put the ship where they want it to be. So let's go back up to normal speed. If we select our ship, we can hold Alt, select our ship. There should be a picture-in-picture up here somewhere. I don't know why we don't have it. That is odd. Normally it's there. So you can actually target independent components on the ship, and I'll show you on our next engagement. Now, there we go. Once we zoom in on our ship, it shows up. I'm going to tell my guys to shoot at the reactor up there, and then I can tell them, hey, after the reactor or after this, shoot. Excellent. We got them defeated. Now, we did quite a bit of damage before we ran out of ammo, and that is always good stuff. We're going to keep to farming a little bit of money, and then I want to do some pretty major upgrades on the ship. We've got to build an FTL drive before we freaking get out of here. So let's go down to this guy. Let's change our engagement range from him. We definitely don't want to be like right up on him. Now we can go back to our ship by clicking the picture of it. And as we zoom in, we can watch as the crew runs around and does what they got to do. Fire extinguisher, here's where it is on this ship. Important you keep your fire extinguishers and your reactors kind of free and clear. All right, we're going to target, right-click to target, and then I'm going to target his guns. I'm holding shift down to target multiple things. So we're going to fire on his guns, and then we're going to fire his reactor. Pretty simple stuff. We should do pretty well to get this guy without a whole lot of trouble. They start you off with a pretty decent ship, and we did the one good thing we could have done. And by adding that energy storage right there, it keeps our salvo pretty smooth. I mean, we had a good rate of fire up to the first few, or up through the first few seconds, my apologies, first few seconds of combat. But for us to have better firing effectiveness, we got 11,000 from that. Let's go ahead and go to the wrench, and we can go ahead and repair. Got a little bit of repairs to do all over the ship. That's perfectly fine. We'll go ahead and engage this last dude and keep him inside our firing arc. Now, there is one thing to keep in mind as I click on this guy and not get too totally lost, and that is some of the other weapons, so like the cannons, actually lose accuracy as they gain distance because it's a physics-based model. We're lacking a crew member. I don't know why. Well, there we go. He came back to us. Baby, come back. All right, so we're going to target that gun up in the front, and then after that, we'll just kind of watch our crews, see how effective they're being. Now, they're not being too effective from the reactor because there's really not enough doors. I saw one guy come from the crew quarters and not be able to get to the reactor, so that's kind of slowing our stuff down. We could throw a door down right there, and all would be well. We'll go ahead and target this guy's reactor. Call it a day. We're going to spend a little bit of our hard-earned cash here after this guy gets marked. We're going to kind of spread the ship out a little bit and make it a little more higher powered for going forward. I think we're going to move up to the next tier of enemies here in just a moment. But got to wrap this guy up. We can go ahead and increase time up to the 4x speed. There we got him. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and begin to reassemble our ship, and I'll be back as soon as we get it done. All right, and we're back. Basically, what I've gone ahead and done is relocate our control room kind of to the aft of the vessel, keeping it away from incoming enemy fire, added an additional reactor, an FTL drive, and basically just rearranged a lot of components I already had. I did purchase an additional crew quarter, and we're hiring 4 additional crew. We put, I guess, like I said, the additional power storage, 1 additional fire extinguisher. We've got our moving walkway, so hopefully this will facilitate movement of energy to the forward portions of the vessel, so that way they don't have to keep running back and forth. Most of our crew is actually at the back of the vessel, which may hurt us. I don't really know. Just checking. Okay, we do have to add a door real quick. We want to make sure that we have access to that engine right there from those crew quarters. The engines, the aft engines, will be accessed directly from the reactor. The other crew members will have to go through. Actually, let's go ahead and link those engines up so that way our guys don't have to move along in any particular snake serpentine fashion. And actually, I think that looks good. We stayed in our budget. We've got 47,000 out of our 51, so let's go ahead and make it so. There we go, and that is now our vessel. No, our control room's not operational because there's no power. Ha, good job, me. So you can paint your vessel. There's the painter over here. You can go ahead and choose a texture. You can choose some colors. And, you know, if we wanted to make it all tactical, freaking dark green, and then decals, freaking, you know, in 001. There we go. We've got our tail number. Everything looks good. So that's kind of how the paint works. I've not really given a whole lot into painting. So let's go ahead and pull up our galaxy map. Now from the galaxy map you can look at these shields at the planets and it gives you an idea of the difficulty. So of course the more lines and the darker, closer to red the shields are, the harder it is. Considering we did put a little money in upgrading our vessel, and before we jump, look at all that. Now I'm sure once you start building up a fleet, which yes, you can build up a fleet, once you start building up your fleet, it's probably not that hard, and you probably don't want to do anything but, you know, these freaking Vanguard guys that are only 2 of them at a time. Let's cut our teeth. You only live once, right? Let's plot this FTL jump. Now, this does take a little bit to spool up the drive, and you'll notice crew members from not-essential stations will leave their stations to spool up the drive. That's good and bad. This game will also, there's an option you can disable. It will autosave before you jump, so if you do something stupid like I like to do, and pick a fight bigger than what you can handle, then you can always jump back to your autosave. Well, let's go ahead and head up to this guy up here. And the reason I say this guy up here is he's by himself, and I have wandered myself into many a terrible situation. We're going to keep an eye on that picture-in-picture. This is going to be good for me because I'll be able to look back on this and see the efficiency or inefficiency of my design, which is all kinds of good stuff. We're looking, he's still half a kilometer away, so we should be seeing his picture-in-picture soon. Now, dependent on how bad this guy looks, oh, yeah, we're going to pause that. We may be in a bigger fight than we care for. These big cannons are going to be really, really rough, but it looks like he doesn't have a whole lot to the side, so we need to stay far away, and we need to stay off to the side if we can. So let's attempt to do something like that, and I'm pretty sure I just got my crew killed. Hey, but let's find out. Pretty sure I just murderized my crew. Poor crew. Now, yeah, those big cannons are no joke, and we're already taking rounds. But the good thing, no, not the good thing. Yeah, that didn't work at all. That didn't work. That didn't work at all. Not at all. And yeah, we can't maneuver backwards at all, and we're completely nose into them. We're outclassed and bad times. So let's queue up these cannons. Maybe this strafing action we got going on right now is probably our only saving grace. Oh, those cannon rounds are just barely missing us, which is the beauty, I guess, of laser weapons. And I believe we have got him completely cowed. We can, now that we're technically out of combat, we can repair for, call it 10 grand, right? Oh, yeah, let's go into debt because we've got this dude squared away. Oh, wrong button. We've got this dude squared away, so right now, going in debt by 6 grand should be good. Hopefully he'll give us a lot more than 6 grand. Let's take a look at him. Oh yeah, he's done for. But this definitely points out the fact that, actually, we can give our guys just an attack order right now. We don't exactly have to stay to one side of them or not. There we go. So technically we made 13 grand off that. I don't really know how I feel about jumping in after another one. That was kind of a pretty atrocious tail beating we took. So I'm kind of thinking we jump in and we do some engineering, and I will be right back. Alright, so for better or for worse, we'll find out how this is all going to play out later. I went ahead and threw a large crew quarters where the ramps, movable walkway things used to be. I went ahead and included some shield generators. They're not shielded at the front, so if these things go, they're going to be expensive to replace. Let's hope they hold out. We've got it tied into quite a bit of energy. We do have a little bit of wasted space in the corridor between it. We can just barely afford making it so, but this may improve our survivability when it comes to firing against those cannons. I intend to kind of reinforce the front where all the guns are. I'm going to replace these small thrusters with normal thrusters before too long, so we get a little more lateral. I want to keep my nose to them, and I'm thinking, who knows, maybe we'll throw some missiles off to the side, or maybe launch out the rear. So we're going to go ahead and pick another fight. How bad can it be, right? Let's get our engagement range good to go. I definitely don't want to be all up on him. And time clicked wrong buttons. Time acceleration, go! Alright, we're moving in range of the target. We're probably going to pause to do a little bit of targeting ourselves, so that way we don't get completely rectified by this dude. Now, reverse thrusting is probably going to be one of our big need-to-dos, so I may actually toss in some small thrusters. Okay, so we are going to target those forward cannons and then the reactor. I know you guys probably aren't a big fan of me pausing all the time, but right now it's about the only way I can handle it. Let's just watch our vessel. Yep, shields are looking good. Shields are looking good. We're feeding them energy. Lots of energy. Lots and lots of energy. But the good thing is, it looks like we've got a system going from one storage to the other. We're doing a whole ton of damage to this guy. And the simple inclusion of a little bit of shields definitely turned the tide in our favor. We spent, 16,000. Doesn't look like we have any repairs. And basically everything off this guy is going to be bottom line profit, right? That's not too terribly bad if I say so myself. All right, squared him away like you wouldn't believe. These two guys are pretty close together, so I'm a little apprehensive to go after them. But, hey, in the interest of moving things along, let's go do stupid things. Let's keep our weapon engagement range at the absolute bare minimum that can possibly be. I think we're pretty squared away with our ship design. Whoop. I think we're pretty squared away with the ship design. I'm very happy with this. For just simple efficiencies, it's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Let's look at his targeting. I'm going to try to target on the move here. Oh. Alright, so we need to fire on those cannons, and we need to get through those cannons quickly. Those cannons are going to be a lot of problems. Yeah, he's about to take a shield down. Now, he's got these bolt throwers, and these bolt throwers are freaking problems because they will disable shields very quickly. But the good thing is they don't do a whole lot of damage. So as long as they stay on our shields and we can keep our volume of fire up on those cannons, life should be pretty good. We lost one shield. That's perfectly fine. We can handle this. We've got to get that other cannon out. Got to get that other cannon out. Let's target that other bolt thrower. Blah. Bolt thrower. All right. Whew. Ew, this is not looking good, guys. Oh, just keep that volume of fire up, boys. Keep that volume of fire up. We're kind of not looking too great. We could probably turn tail and run. Maybe get a good repair in. Yeah, we're going to have to. So let's go ahead and see if we can outpace this guy. We might be able to outrun him. Maybe not. We're turning our tail to him, which is really dangerous. Let's go ahead and see if we can outpace him. It does not seem like we're going to be able to. Come on. Go. Go, little spaceship. Go. Alright. Juke back the other way. Juke back the other way and run. Yeah, it looks like we're about to get ate up. And, yeah, that really didn't turn out very well. But I'm glad to show you guys exactly how not to play the game and pick a fight way bigger than yourself. Probably could have done a little more preparation instead of just rushing blind into everything. Man, he's got a ton of thrusters. We don't stand too much of a chance to take him. Oh, no, let's not turn too much. The more we turn... Oh, we were almost able to repair. If I'd been paying attention, we could have repaired. There's a hotkey for that. If I can just get a little more distance off this guy, we can slap that hotkey. Probably can't repair everything, sadly. So let's keep an eye on this repair. Once we break out, repair, turn around, and let's throw some hate and discontent. Repair all. Oh, man. Go into debt. Screw it. Let's go into debt, and let's make this guy our clown. Because I think all he's got is that one cannon. So as long as we keep the volume of fire up, keep that volume of fire up, keep that volume of fire up, As long as we keep the volume of fire up, we should be good to take him. Now, granted, we're not going to get our 36,000 back, but it's going to be good. Yeah, that was cheesing. I know, you guys are probably screaming at me, oh, dude, that was such cheesing. I know. That was pretty cheesing. I know. I'm tracking. I'm completely tracking. But you know what? If it's stupid and it works, it's not so stupid. That's what I live by. Sweet. Hey, we got out of debt just a little bit. Let's go ahead and repair what little we can. This has cost us a freaking ton. An absolute ton. Now, we should probably get some of those bolt throwers ourselves, but the problem I have going on is we're at the bare minimums of crew and power. So what I'm probably going to do is cut this first little snapshot, look at Cosmoteer right here, and if you guys want to see more, let me know. But until next time, this is Pony here with Grogan Games, signing off.